First thing I'm going to do, just make sure my levels are correct. Okay, all right, so let's just go to my level 0. I'm just going to work in the zone. So the first thing you need to understand is before you go, when you click the stair tool, first pick which type of stair you want. Just a quick reminder regarding the precast stair. If for some reason it shouldn't have this tread of 1 mil, I should have got rid of that. But in essence, press apply. Okay, now when you start a stair, before you start the stair, actually you need to say kind of where it's going to start and where it's going to finish, so level wise. Okay, let me just introduce this again as well. Okay, so here you need to determine, so if your stair, for argument's sake, wasn't going to go all the way to the first floor and it was going to be a certain height, so here I could change this to level 0 and say 1,500. I could also say it also needs to start another 200 mil off the ground floor level, and we'll play with that in a minute. But say now, I just want a small stair, so it goes from 0 to 1.5 high. So especially if you're coming in, so where this would happen, so maybe let's do it this way. So that must be level 0. You could also say, this step is going to end on 0, but start minus 1,500. Okay, so let's try this option very quickly. So you're going to say run. Now you've got different types of stairs we can use. I'll get to that in a minute, but let's just pick a straight run. And it'll tell you once the stair's finished, because we've set the height there. So that's how many is remaining. Okay, so we just go and grab a quick section, finish the step, and then I'm going to grab a quick section. Okay, just so that we can see our levels. Okay, so the stair would start minus 1,000 and end on level 0. Okay, so that's why you're getting that. So if I took that to there, all right, I can change this here and go, no, that must start there and that must end 1,500 there. And it will move the stair. Just remember, if I change this distance here to 1,800, the stair, it'll give you an error because it'll tell you that the stair no longer works with this. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to go back to the ground floor levels with those original settings. You need to go and edit the stair, and it will tell you it will need to add some more rises to achieve. So here that must be 1,800 actually, and we need a total number of 11 rises. Okay, so the run height needs to be 1,100. It will automatically adjust. Okay. And my rises shouldn't be more than 170 and my goings 1. Okay. I'll go back to level 0 again and I'll go back into my stair. I'll go edit stair. Now, if I grab this point and I drag the point back, all that I'm doing is I'm actually losing rises. Okay, so if I finish that, it's going to tell me that it doesn't meet the requirements because I've taken some rises away. So that's how you add and subtract rises, for example. Okay, let's just go back there again. Let me just show that in better detail. So in this case, I'm going to draw a precast stair. I want to make sure that this, I don't want a notch straight cut. Press apply. You can put a notch where it meets the slab, for example. I'm not going to do that in this instance. I'll explain what that is now. So here I'm going to go from level 0 to 1. And as you create the stair, it'll tell you how many are remaining. So I'm going to start there, and then I can carry on and complete the stair. Okay. Now, if I grab this arrow, it'll take one from the top and put one at the bottom again. But if I grab the point, it'll remove a riser. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So I can put that riser back. And it'll tell you now that you're achieving the required, you need 19 risers in total. Okay, if it goes from 0 to 3.2. Okay. Don't worry about this. This is an automatic calculation where it starts from this landing going up. So let's finish this very quickly. Let's go to 3D view. I want these for the time being. Now I've got a nice straight cut. I've just taken away that notch there, so I've got a nice straight cut there. And everything else seems to be working fine. The landing is filling in correctly. Okay. All right, so that's kind of working. I think when you start doing your own stairs and projects, if it does get complicated, you know, just arrange an appointment with me and I'll show you how to sort these stairs out. Okay, so in section view, just get rid of, I need to see my levels. Okay, they're not in view, so I just need to go north and south. All these into extents, east. So that's great. So but what I tend to do is, because I've got a floor slab, I'll remove one of the risers. So I go to level 1, and I go and say edit stair, and I'm going to grab the stair and I grab the dot and pull it back to there. Perfect. Finished. I know that that's going to happen, but my floor slab will start somewhere over here and continue. Okay. All right. So in essence, my floor slab would have so my floor slab would have done that, in essence. There's another way you can cheat this. You can make another landing at the top so it looks like it ties in, it sorts out this issue here. So let me just show you that very quickly. So if you want to, you can cheat how the stair finishes. So select your stair, and you're going to go and say edit stair, and you're going to say landing, and you're going to pick this side. You click where you want to put a landing, and you just create a sketch. So I'm just going to create a very basic landing over here. You need to follow, if you've got a handrail on, try and switch it off, because this will need to meet this side of the stair, the riser, and make this probably 300. 300. Finish. And if I go finish, and I go here, so what it does is it actually completes the stair, and if you select the correct landing, it will complete the stair to look kind of correct before you floor slab, and you'll just have a neat line where that starts, for example. So let me show you that quickly. So if I went to put a floor slab, you will just have to change the type of landing in that area. So if I went to floor, and I'd quickly just draw a quick floor in here, and probably what I would have done is move this to there, because technically that's where the stair would start, and then I'll cut out edit boundary. I would include this, and you can change the materials to be the same as well. Okay. But now if I went to my section, for example, okay, it would finish correctly. So I just need to add one more riser to this to make it work. But in essence, you get that correct finish. Okay. All right, so let me just quickly edit that again, one more. Let's go. You just need to change the material of the stair so you don't get the same look and feel as you do for the slab. So in essence, I just need to change that landing. So it's stair, if I click the landing here and I go and say edit type, here I can make this a 255 and I can duplicate it, 255. Press OK. Okay, let's change this one as well. Okay, so you need to make them different, but here it will solve this issue here. But generally, I'll stop it like that, and I'll just use, when I cut a section through, I'll just use a filled region to hide that, generally. That's up to you. Okay, so there is ways to kind of make it neater. But a slab and that will never join, for example. use the same material for my stair as well.
Doors closing.
So concrete cast in situ. Okay, so this will be that, and that'll be that. That'll be apply. I did say concrete cast in situ. Why is it not pasting it yet? Complete. No. Why did it select that? Concrete cast in situ. Close, apply. You want the materials to be the same. Okay, so if you're reading it from level 1, it reads the same. Okay, it's your slab, for example. Type, run type. That's where the problem was. That's going to be concrete cast in situ as well. Press OK. Press apply. Press OK. Apply. Okay. Okay, there we go. Right, so then we can just go and edit boundary, and I'll join this up to there, for example. Okay, but generally, what I tend to do is I stop it one short. It'll tell me it's one short, okay? And then here very quickly I edit my boundary from there to there. Okay, then I go into my section view because technically that's correct. Then all I do in my views, I go to, so if this was my section, for example, yep. So what I'll do now is I would actually go and say annotate component filled region, and I'll make this 6 concrete, and I'll make this concrete hatch, and I will quickly trim that, and then close this. Just remember those will need to be invisible lines. Okay. Just on your sections, I know in your 3D view it doesn't, but for your section, if you're cutting a section through step, I mean, that's how easy it is, okay, and it'll look correct as well. Okay, so that's very easy to sort out. Okay, but generally this is how it will stop, because then this is where your slab starts, and you usually get a beam underneath here. Okay, so that's that in a nutshell. Sometimes they'll cast a precast stair will go into here, and that's when you'll have that little nudge. But generally, in South Africa, they cast it all as it's an in situ casted stair, so it'll read that way. It will be modeled like that, but that's fine. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to just have a look at, we get different types of steps that you can use. So let's go stair again. You can. So this will. It will only start drawing the stair once it'll work. Okay. So you'll need to. It goes from the center. So this maybe change that. I want to use that, and I don't want to use center. I want to use left, for example. So here I can use this by 50. Now what it does is it creates a, let's go 3D view. This creates a spiral staircase. Okay, these handrails on the side never really work because it goes up a pipe, so that's I usually try and get rid of. Okay, but in essence, that's how you create a spiral staircase. And I'll use a structural column down the middle as my railing in essence. Okay, it's hard to put railings around these sometimes, but in essence, the outsiders work pretty well. So that's one option. Okay, these are determined by these minimum widths and that where they start and finish. So you'll just need to play with that. Okay, so these are hard to do, and the way it's set up is the way it will work in reality. Okay, so that's spiral staircase. I'm going to go back to stair again. Stair, the next option is it's an arc, so it starts. This is not quite the same as a spiral staircase. It's more of it works on an arc. Okay. This hand railing works a lot better. Okay. Okay, so that's how you do those. Let's get rid of this one as well. Work around the center. Stair. Okay, these stairs, Generally, we don't use these in South Africa that much. They come in preset. You've just got to adjust the side of the stair. Okay, and you can change the run location on the fly, center, so that's totally up to you. Okay, so here I've got +2, I don't want that, I only want +1, get rid of one more, there we go. So here we're grabbing, so you grab this point and it takes from the, this is also preset. You won't be able to get too close because there's a rule how these are developed. Okay, so if I go to 3D view and I finish the step, okay, you can see that you can get a nice effect. And it works well with if you're going to use it like a commercial fire escape. Yeah, it'll work well with these open stairs as well. All right, and it tries to create these winders. Okay, so these are stringers on the side. So you can do quite a lot with this. Okay, but the rule is it's set to that L shape. Okay, and then we're going to go to stair. One last one is this one over here, and that's also a preset shape. Okay, and once again, if you go to plan view, all that you can do is take from the front, pull back to the left. Let me just see what that was. Yeah, that's, if you want the landings and the bend, I'll do that in a minute. Okay, let me show you that. So if you went back to stair, that's a pretty straightforward stair. So you'll start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Okay, so this is in the wrong place. So let me do that again. Let's do that again. So run. So you can start here. I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. So I'm going to say run. I'm going to say right hand side. Go from there. Go from there. Go from there. Okay. Yeah. So every time you start a run, if you want to say when you start a run, you put a run in. You can put a landing. So if I got rid of this, got rid of this, got rid of this, got rid of this. And so now I want to make a custom landing here. I can select this guy and then create a custom landing by using a sketch. So here I could make some weird looking landing, for example. And I could put some arcs in here. So here I could put an arc in here. Okay, but you must always try and work around the center. That's very important. Okay, then stair path. This is also very important. You need to pick the stair path from there. And those will also need to, okay, finish. So now if I go to 3D view, and then I could start my railing again. But I'm going to get into more complex stuff now. So here I can go and say run again. And I can pick from there and carry on. But just remember, it needs to work. My justification needs to be center. So I've worked. So let me just say run again. Make sure that it's center. And if I go to 3D view, okay. Yeah, I'm going to get to that now. I'm going to show you can make more customized types of stairs. So let me just go to edit stair again. So now that you've got a landing, you could go and say edit sketch. So for example, I could mirror this. And you must just always show where the path runs. So this is important. So you're going to draw the boundary of the landing is always the green lines. And then the stair path is always the blue line. So for example, here I could draw another green line. I'm going to draw a green line that does that because I'm going to use this as a mirror option. So I'm going to select all this stuff here, all that stuff there. And I'm going to use mirror and I'm going to select the midpoint here. Okay, and then I'll just get rid of, I'll need to trim this, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Oh no, that I need to trim that with that, trim that with that. So I'm making a custom landing. Just remember boundary, I need to close this off. Very important, finish. It's telling me where the stair is going to continue. I'm going to say I want to create another run from there to there, for example, finish. Go to 3D view. Okay. Oh, to make an open riser, it's just a family. So if you select the stair family, if you go to the types of family, you've got assembly stairs, and then you get precast or cast and place stairs. Okay. So precast is a bit different. If I went to concrete in situ, precast and in situ are more or less the same type of stairs because they cast concrete stairs. But you'll see if I go to the top, you get assembly stairs. These are commercial open. You can have them that have a private stair where it will have timber. These are all different types of families with nosings. Okay, to make these stairs up, it is quite complicated, and I think I might have to spend a bit more time. So here you can determine where this board will sit. This will obviously be built in the wall, but you can see it drives. These are pretty straightforward. Okay, you've just got for the run type, you're going to specify the nosing. There's a profile to drive the nosing, for example. But I think what's in the file already should give you enough to work with. Okay, so if I select the stair again and I change this to more of a commercial industrial type stair, select the staircase, and here I'm going to say commercial, private, commercial. Now it's an open steel. So it's usually a steel string around the side, and then you've got these. That's generally how they do it, and they put a steel post in here. Okay. All right, if you go and edit stairs, you can also get rid of these edges if you don't want to see them by selecting them, and you can add them back again. All right, and they're part of the stair, but you can always change the materials. You have changed the width and depth of it, for example. But it's been pre-set up in your project to kind of work for what you guys are doing. I mean, no, so what you're doing is you're just eliminating, if I'm just switching off the riser part. So here I can put a riser and I can put a profile in for press apply. Now I've just switched off the riser, so here it will automatically work out what the riser needs to be. You're just playing with the width and the material of it, for example. So they're pretty easy to kind of, so here I've just switched off the riser, for example. So here you can go and say you can add a profile. So here I can drive a profile, for example, certain profiles. So what we tend to do sometimes is we use a circle in commercial. So we tend to use a circle that sits in the middle of where this starts. Okay, so we used to do that quite a lot, but the profile will be set up to go move down a bit. Okay, riser thickness. So here I can change that to driving a profile is a way that you can change it, move it up and down. Okay, but you can put a circle across the middle. Okay, we tend to do that quite a lot because you don't want a kid crawling through that. Okay, anyway, I'm going to switch that off for now, press apply. And I don't want a profile on these either, so that I'm going to switch off as well, edit type. So here for this, I want my tread thickness, and I don't want a nosing profile. So here I'm going to say none, default, press apply. So it's just a square. Okay, so nosing length. Okay, so it's just a square landing. For what you guys are doing, it's not, I mean, you're not designing a staircase. You've just got to do a building complete. Okay. Yeah, so when you've drawn the stair, let me just show you that very quickly. If you go to level 0, when you select you just literally change its width here, 900. Your landing will have to adjust to meet that, okay? And this can be 900. So let me just start again. I'll start the stair again. So before you start the stair, run. So you're going to go to run. Here you're going to set its width, 1500. Okay. So that's where you play it. But once it's in a project, you can go and change this to a meter. And if it's automatically generated the landing for you, you simply just go and change that there. Okay. Oh, come on. 1000. And then you just move this guy to kind of get the spacing correct. you can grab this a dimension, pull it to that side, grab this dimension from there to there, and then you can put in the dimension. Yeah, you can create profiles for those, and that's something that I can show you guys a bit later. Okay, so make that 120. Okay, somebody's asked a question. Let me just see. Yes, Tana?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sure.
Okay, sorry. Now I want to ask is if you start the run of the stair at the bottom with 2 meters, and then it narrows until, say, for instance, 1 meter.
Okay, that's what I'm going to show you now. Yeah. Okay, I'll show you that now. Okay. So,
sorry.
No problems. Okay, so now there's the third type of stair you can create. You've got all these options here. The third type is you can create a sketch. Okay, so now let me just go back there again. Let's close that. So here, if I hover over here, so here you can go and create all types of different shapes. Okay, so if I wanted to generate a step like that, for example, I'll show you exactly how to do that. I'm just going to use straight lines for this exercise. So the first thing you start with is a boundary. Okay, then you draw a path because you want some sort of center line. So this dimension, you can use dimensions in here, which is neat. So let's make this 500. Okay, so that's my path, and I'm going to use this to mirror. Use that to mirror that way. Okay, then I'm going to start with my first riser. Okay, now my risers are different in color. And that, for example, I can use a straight line. So say now I did something like that, and then this guy returned. So let's just do this a bit better. So then I had a line that did something like that. And let's grab a riser line from here to here. This must be, my first must be 250. And I'm going to use this tool to, that must be, sorry, that must be a riser. That must be dark as well. Okay, there we go. Then my next riser will go from there to there. I'll mirror this in a second, just this information I'm going to mirror. And then this will go to there. This will go to there. Now you have to offset this. Offset 250. And you'll see it's counting here. It knows how many that you need. Oops, undo, don't. 1. You'll see that it's counting in the bottom right hand corner how many you've got left to do. Two remaining. Okay, now you have to use the trim multiple tool. Select this line. Okay, so you can go and sketch your stairs. So say now there was an arc over here, you could do that as well. So trim multiple again. You could make these arcs as well. You could use curves. You can add landings to these. They'll have to be drawn in place as well. Sometimes they don't like these custom stairs either. Okay, so finish. Okay, all I need to do now is just change. You can flip the stair. Okay. Just cut a section through that. So for example, if I wanted a landing now, I'm going to go and say landing. And then I need to go and draw a rectangle. Sometimes these landings won't join. There is an issue when you do these funny shapes. So you have to sometimes model stuff in place, okay? Yeah, it's done exactly what I thought it would do. So that you'll have to get rid of. So here you're going to have a bit of an issue because it doesn't recognize, but it'll pick up the landing. So here you might have to model something in place to kind of close that gap. That does happen with these types of landings from time to time. So if, for example, you've got a door over here, so you're going to go and say you can get rid of this, and you can go and say edit sketch, because this is a landing that you can go and edit sketch. So say now I had a bit of a door opening there. How we get around that, for examples, I'll draw another piece of, I trim this like that, and I get rid of that, and I trim this, and I finish the command, and then here I'll get rid of that. So say now my door was there, and then I can go and add, so when I can go and add the sides back to this landing again. Okay. I just want to see, I just want to add some sides to this. So my railing, I want to add some support. I want to support there and there and there. Okay. So then you'll go into the door because this will fix to the wall, for example. Okay. So there's quite a lot you can do. You can make your steps curve with the contours exactly that. Okay. So for example, you could curve this one side out. So let's quickly do that as well. So let's go to edit the stair itself. Oh yeah, sorry, press cancel. You go and you click on the stair and you go and say edit shape. So for example, for the boundary, it could come out straight here and curve to this point over here. So here I could add an arc from there to that point there, and I wanted to kind of do something like that. I can get rid of this guy. Just remember, you must go TM. Otherwise it won't. This has to be neat. Okay, there's a slight issue with how this finishes. So that I might have to do something at the bottom there. So let's quickly fix that. Okay, so there was an issue with the bottom here, but you can go and follow all those kind of things. Look, okay, so while we're on stairs, I just want to show you guys something that's important. Okay, so let's go and look at the regulations regarding stairs. So the first thing I'm going to look at is Part M. So Part M covers the stairs themselves. Okay, by and large, I know that the maximum rise is 200, but most commercial buildings, all office buildings, the rises are set at 170 maximum. They're more comfortable. These step regulations are quite old in that sense that 200 high is a bit extreme. Okay. So generally we try and have a minimum landing of 250 because you'll see stairs will take up a lot of space, and a maximum riser of 170. Now, this pitch line, this is important. So if you're going to take a slab underneath, if you're going to take a step underneath another step, you need to maintain this pinch line where you've got a ceiling, for example, of 2.1. Okay, and that you measure off the pitch line of the steps to where the slab is. So, for example, let's get rid of this very quickly. So let's quickly go to top. And I'm going to quickly draw a very basic stair just using normal runs. Okay, center line. Okay, let's just go to side because I want to work around the middle here. So let's start run. So here I'm going to go that way and I'm going to come back and go this way. Okay, all right. So now I've got a floor slab. So if I went to architecture, oh yeah, finish steps, modify, finish the steps. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to floor. I'm going to quickly draw a floor slab here. So the stair starts here, and center this floor slab did something. like that. So let's go to 3 view. Can help if we draw it on the first floor. It's very easy to fix. Okay. So now, if I went to level 0, and I take the section, delete the section, I'm going to create a new section. Okay. So now I need to draw a reference plane. This is very important, guys. And then you grab this reference plane and you move it up to 100. And you see this stair you wouldn't be able to use because it will hit your head when you're trying to go up the stairs. So you need to go reference plane. I'm going to draw this reference plane quite high so I can see it in the plane. So I'll actually need to stop this stair somewhere over on this line. So using a reference plane, if I go to level 1, this will need to stop. So edit boundary, this will need to come back to there. Guys, I've seen people build this before where they've had to come and cut the slab. I've seen this happen. Okay, this is very important. So here, at least if I'm going up the stair, I'm not going to hit my head. And this applies if you're using spiral staircases. This rule is quite critical. You need to understand this information. Okay. Otherwise, you'll need to be a midget to go up the stairs. Okay, so that's that in a nutshell. Yes, Francois?
Sorry, Jason. You mentioned at the beginning of the session that there's 2 ways that you can join with the floor slab. The one is to remove one of the risers. The other is notch. And you didn't explain the notch. I was just curious about how that would work.
So notch, when you buy precast stairs, the stair automatically has a notch built into it. I'll show that to you very quickly, okay? All right, so I'll show that to you in a minute. Okay, so just one last thing with steps. In South Africa, generally we don't have those weird shapes. They're trying to force you to have these type of steps. Okay, and you can draw those in. You can literally use that draw tool to kind of establish those type of steps. Okay, in Europe, generally they will use those other type of steps where I showed the angle changes slowly. But generally in South Africa, it's very hard to cast a step like that out of concrete. It's very hard. Okay, so generally you could have this approach going on. That's fine. You can do that kind of landing. Okay, but then you'll have to draw the step in. Okay, so let's quickly jump back to, let's make this a concrete step. So let's make this this is a precast stair. Okay, so with a precast stair, what it allows me to do, connection method, it allows me to introduce a notch. So they usually precast this in and they build in a special receiving section in the slab where this will then terminate into the slab, Francois. So let me just go to my plan view. I'll show you from the other side. So let's grab the step here, edit stair, and I'm going to add one more riser. Okay. Okay, let's see why is this. So I'm going from the wrong side. That explains a lot. Go one more. Okay. And let's go here. I need one more. Okay, so this will need to notch into that slab. So I just need to create one more. Let's make sure the step is working correctly. It's there. That's all correct. So I need to create one more here. So this will need to go one more. There we go. Okay, so if this was a precast type of stair, in the concrete slab itself, let me just go back to level 1. That's fine there. Okay. So what they generally do is, in the concrete slab itself, they actually build in a receiving section here for this precast stair. So they precast them, they bring them to start, and they lower them into position. then they usually, the landings are also pre-built, and they'll also have a notch section in here. And you can see there it's doing that notch section on the side. So all it does is it just introduces a notch to show that it's a precast stair. But generally these stairs work exactly the same. So there's no difference. Okay. With this type of stair where it's cast in place, I generally lose one of the landings because I pull this back. So here generally what I do is, here I'm going to go and say edit stair, and I'll grab this guy and I'll pull it back once. Okay, finish. That's fine. Here I'm going to go and say edit boundary, and I'll pull this back to there. And I'm going to pull this back to the side. Okay. Okay, generally I do that and then I use a fold region. Okay. Alright, and you see here it doesn't have a notch either. So it's not a precast stair in essence. This is a fully, yeah, this one also needs to lose that. Cancel. I don't want it to have, this mustn't be here at all. Just pure concrete. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so in essence, that's what I'll do in that area. This stair, you just change this to land on this section here with the railing. Okay. But in essence, that's what I want. Alright. Cool. Let's go to 3D view. Okay, and that would account, so on the other side, I need to introduce that line there. Okay, so one other thing we need to bear in mind with steps. Okay, so now in part S, which is for disabled people, there's a lot of stuff in here that will override part N. Okay, so here, for example, let's go to the hand railings. How your hand railings work, the height of the hand railings. Okay, so generally we have a meter hand railing, generally. If you're going to put a railing against a wall for a ramp, we'll make that 900. For an older person to grab onto it, it's better. For a stair, it's not so much of a case of you holding onto the hand railing so that you don't fall off the stair. So if you're escaping out of a building and you happen to run into a baluster of a stair, it needs to be a meter high so you don't fall over. Because you can imagine if it was 900 high and you're quite a tall person, you have a risk of hitting the railing and actually falling down the stair shaft. Okay, so if it's high above your hips, generally that momentum won't throw you over the railing. Okay, there's certain rules, but generally, if it's a ramp and it's not designed to, it's not a barrier, then you're looking at 900. But if it's a barrier, 1,000 high. In the UK, it's 1.1. Okay, it should be the same here. I just don't understand why it's not. But anyway, okay. So that's why I'm saying you need a 60 mil gap when you're putting your hands. So when you're going up and down the railing, you don't hook your hand on something. Okay. So generally, what I'm referring to there, if I go to edit stair, generally, I'll try and make this 200. Just so that there's enough space when you put the railing on so that your hand can, maybe generally 160 is what I also work with from time to time. Okay, so you've got enough space for the railing to go around the stair in essence. Okay, all right. Let's go to 3D view. So if I want to put a railing on the step now, you've got enough space here so your hand doesn't, you want about 120 mil between there as a safe distance. Okay, so I could in theory go and say edit stair, and then this distance can be 120. Okay, finish. All right, so now your hand is safe. Okay, so your hand will be generally quite safe when it goes around that railing there. Okay, all right, so that's, and then the last thing for stairs, now this starts getting quite complicated. If you go to the fire regulations now, so now the width of the stair, if it's an escape stair for a building, it needs to be the same distance, needs to be the same width as a escape route. Okay, and I did have that in a minute. I don't know where it's gone to now. It was page 41. Here we go. There we go. So if it's an escape stair, there's these rules that apply that you need to adhere to. Okay. So that's where the landing starts in proportion to a door, because if you're running out the door and somebody's standing trying to run down the steps, you're going to knock him down the steps. So there needs to be a gap so that you can at least stop and navigate traffic. So an escape stair, it needs to be a certain width, and it needs to, if it's in an enclosed lobby, stair shaft, for example, the doors need to be a certain distance away. Okay, and then these are the widths of the stair. Generally for an office building, so an escape stair in an office building is 1.5 meters wide, and that's the clear width. That's between hand railing and hand railing. Okay, so you're going to have a hand railing against the wall, so the clear width of that escape is between the hand railings, and that needs to be 1500. Okay, generally for small office buildings you can get away with 1.1, 1.2, but generally, and this has got to do with the amount of people going down that step, so it's got to do with occupation. But generally, if a building needs to be, if an office building needs to be, needs to comply with Part S, all your escape route stairs will need to be that wide. Okay, and that's between railings. Okay. Oh dear, I wasn't supposed to close that. So let's go back there quickly. Say building regs. I need to go back to Part S. Okay, now we're going to tackle ramps. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at now is ramps. Ramps work pretty much the same way as a stair. Anything you need to understand is, for a disabled person, you need to achieve these ramps. Okay, so you've got a 1 in 12 gradients, but you can only rise 500 mil high. So it means the length of that ramp can only be 6 meters. So for a disabled person, he can only travel 6 meters, then he has to stop because it's quite a high grade. That 1 in 12 is quite steep for somebody. So if somebody was going up with a wheelchair, he would have to stop after 6 meters and rest. Okay. So these are the rules, but generally I stick to the 1 in 12. So let's go back into Revit. Okay, go back to level 0. Now I'm going to go to architecture, and you're going to go to ramp. So you've got two types of ramps that you can use. I know that let me just edit this type. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to call this standard 2. So standard 1, you can give it a thickness, or you can just make it solid. I'll make ramp 1 solid, for example. And remember, the maximum length of the run is 6 meters. Apply. Okay, if I go to standard 2, this will be thick, and same thing, 6 meters. Yeah. No, it's 6. I think it is 6, yeah. We'll just go back to ramp 1. Yeah, 6. So maximum is 6. Okay. All right, press OK, 6 meters. Oh, no, sorry, no, that's wrong. Let's go back here. That's 6,000. What am I doing? Okay, and then standard type 2, 6,000 as well. Come on. 6,000. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use standard 1 first. So when you start, same story applies. I'll start with a run, and you'll see it'll max out at 6 meters. Okay, before I start my ramp. How high do I want to go? So I'm just going to show you this for the first, just for interest's sake. So if I wanted to go up 1500, so say now there was a level difference on this level. I'm going to go from there. That's the first section. Again, start over here. Okay, so that's how big a ramp needs to be to go up 1.5 meters. And that's a solid. And if I change that to my standard 2, which is, okay, so that's how long a ramp has to be part S compliant. Okay, so that's, if you want to go up 1.5 meters, that's how long your ramp needs to be. Okay, to take a person in a wheelchair. Okay. it is 1500 high once it hits the landing itself. Okay, so that's the type of arrangement that you have to achieve to get somebody up 1.5 meters. Okay, according to part S. So ramps take up a hell of a lot of space. So for example, if I wanted this ramp to go up to my first floor, for example, so if I went ramp and I need to go to level 1, so let's say level 1, there we go. Here you can change its width as well, 1200. So here you'll see it will limit me to 6 meters every time, 6 meters every time. Okay. We can do the final adjustments of where the landings happen now. I've still got another 8.4 meters to go to get to the top floor. That's it. So now I've achieved, you select these lines and you just move them closer. You can use construction lines in here to kind of get the stuff to work a bit neater. But I'll show you what the ramp looks like now. Now that's the kind of ramp that you'll need. You can draw a circular ramp as well. But that's to be Part S compliant. That's how big the ramp will need to be to get you up to that level for somebody in a wheelchair. Okay. So that's why they use those big spirals if you go those overpasses, but those are not technically for disabled people, technically, okay? Okay, base offset, top offset. Let me just do that again. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay, let's go to level 0. Okay, here I'm going to draw my ramp. So here where it says base and top offset, so base offset, so now it's going to start on level 0, but it's only going to finish on level 0, 1.5 high from level 0. Okay, so it's still on level 0. It just means that the ramp is going up. Let's make it 500 for argument's sake. That's one run. So if I went to run and I went in, there we go. That's my ramp. That's a ramp going up 500. So all I'm doing is, before I draw the ramp, I'm just making sure that it's okay. Here I'm setting it. If I change this, I can go and change this to 1000, but then it's going to give me an error and say that this ramp is incorrect. So then I'll need to go and say edit sketch, and I'll need to go and add another landing. So here I'll need to add another run. And that will finish it now. Now it's a correct ramp. It'll tell you when it's not working well. Okay, so edit sketch. So with these ramps, you can go and create all types of arcs. It is a bit different though when you create an arc, so just bear that in mind. So for example, I could use a curve to do this. Okay, it's not measuring, it's going to measure the run. So you need to tell it where it needs to run. So it needs to measure the run. So you're going to start with the run over here. No, sorry. A boundary, a riser. Here you're going to start with a riser. And here you're going to end with a riser. And then I'm going to copy this guy. That needs to be offset. Let's go to, let's say offset rather. So here I need to say offset 1200, 1200. But now you physically have to go and draw the ramp. And you'll need to go and work out the different. So here it's not giving you that information. So if I finish this now, it'll be a pure ramp. So finish. Delete dimensions. But now what I'll have to go and do is I'll have to go and work out how long each one is. So I'll have to take 6 meters, draw another landing. So let me just show you that, for example. So let's just draw. So in essence, I would have had to go to annotate arc, select the arc. I want arc length, yes. I want to start there and finish there. So this would need to be tab, 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 tab. Yep, that'll need to be 6 meters. So you'll have to draw the arc at 6 meters. Okay, so you'll have to measure it out 6 meters, draw a landing. So here I'll probably draw a landing over here. So here I'll probably draw a straight with a line work, and I'll start with another riser. But these you'll have to go and work out, all right? And then start with another. So let's finish this quickly and I'll show you what it looks like. So now that's flat. Then I'd have to start again with another riser. Okay. Yeah, I just offset it. Okay. And I think if I remember correctly, let me just draw, let's close all this correctly. I just generally use this tool. Okay, this puts that run model line in already. Okay. Just see if it will give me that. That's inside, architecture, wrap. So boundary, I'm just going to draw, so 6 meters. So let me just say arc here. So you'll have to go and measure this out. So from there, so it works in degrees. So you'll have to go and work out where the 6 meters is. Okay. So generally how we do that, the best way to do that is to draw a bit of line work. It should work that way. Let's grab this arc first. And I'm going to go and say arc. Annotate arc length. Select the arc, start there, finish there. So you might have to select this point there. You see, it doesn't edit that. So you'll have to go and measure that 6 meters out. So that's quite tricky. You're going to have to go and you have to measure it along this arc. So that's actually quite tricky. That's going to be tough to do those round. Let me just draw the boundary, offset the boundary again. To be honest, I've really drawn. So this will be a riser from there to there, from there to there, and let's go run. I'm going to draw snap center, snap center. See, that's drawing. Yeah, let me just do that way. I think if you wanted to do an arc run, so you're going to say arc, and you're just going to draw it in a. So it's giving you the preset lengths in any case. Okay. So that will stop, and then you'll have to start again. So you could go straight here now, run. You could go straight. So here you could, a bit further away, that's your next 6 meters. It will automatically put in the landing for you. Okay. Yeah, so that general tool to create ramps, yeah, they're tricky. I'd rather use a floor slab and do it that way. But it can be done. Okay. Okay, cool. Sorry, Dina, what did you mean? Sorry.
Hi Jason, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Perfect.
I just meant when you're measuring the 6 meters before the landing, do you measure the 6 meters inside the arc or outside the arc, in the middle of the arc?
Yeah, so generally you want the inside of the arc because that's going to be the most extreme angle. So if you measure the outside of the arc, the inside arc might be 1 to 8 because it's at a different because the inside radius will be then different. So the inside will it'll be like, it won't be a road going up anymore. It will have quite a steep curve on the inside, which you don't want. So you want to measure to the inside of that curve every time, not the outside. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks. So just, yeah, because if you measure on the inside of the curve, then you make sure that your whole, all of your ramp is acceptable.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. That's correct. So if you use the outside curve, the inside curve would be too steep, in other words. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the last thing we're going to look at now is just railings in general and how to use railings. Okay. So let's just go to my first floor. Yeah, so it tries to build a ramp more like a road, a flat surface. I've noticed with this ramp tool, it's trying to keep it flat. It's not that clever. It doesn't try and what can I say? It's almost like there's a way that it will follow the extrusion. It tries to keep the ramp flat, Matthew. But if you use the floor slab tool, like I showed you guys how to use the ramp going into the basement using a floor slab, that's different. It will then have two different angles from the inside curve to the outside curve. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go and grab, on my first floor, I'm just going to make a bit of a landing. So first things I'm going to do, ground floor, I'm just going to create a basic stair again. So I'm just going to create a stair. This width, I'll make it a precast stair. Start here. So I've got 10 remaining, go from here, and then I can go, there we go. All right, so that's that. There's my stair. Finish my stair. Move it somewhere over here. Okay, so go to first floor. I don't want to see the level none. I don't want no underlay. Okay, so the stair goes down here. So here I'm going to go and grab a quick floor slab. I'm going to create a slab very quickly. Let's go to a rectangle. Okay. Okay. All right. So here, for example, I could maybe add one more riser because it could, if you keep the material the same, it will always produce another step here, which I don't like. So what I tend to do with this, guys, I go and say, edit path. I will then say, pick one more line. Okay, and then I'll trim these two. So if I'm looking on level 1, so I'm just saying it starts, if you flip this around, it just changes in which direction it goes, but that should work fine. Cancel. If I go to 3D view, it will know. Okay, so here I need to go and say, this needs to, by host, it needs to be flat and it's going to be offset custom by 160, for example. Finish. Okay, so it reads the top of the slab. So here it will come up and then come round. So I'm offset this. Let me just do that again. Let's finish this guy. So I go here. I'm going to say edit stair. I'm going to drag this one more. Okay. And then what we could do to the stair is we can tell this to end with a rise. So here. Okay, I'm going to say finish. I'm going to go here and say edit type. There was a way that you tell it to end with riser. So let's just go edit step. Yeah, begin with riser, end with riser. Okay, so let's go and begin with finish. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. So I've just told the step to end with the riser, so I'm going to edit, modify this landing quickly. This must go to there. Finish. Okay. Now if I go to my floor above, great. So technically, it eliminates the top riser. That's how you get it to look a lot better. Okay, now if I go and put my hand railing, place on step. Okay, then this inside railing, you just click on it again and you say edit path. Then you pick this line over here. Trim these two with that. That's where it ends. And path offset, now the stair, it will look correct. Okay, so I didn't have to use an offset tool. So all I did was, in essence, I selected this flight of stairs and I said it must end with a riser, not begin with a riser. Okay. Actually, I could actually do that. That should fix. No, it was correct. All right. So here we're telling the stair it must end with a riser. Finish. Which means that the landing will work correctly in this instance. So your railings will work well. Okay. Okay, railings. Let me just show you more about railings. If you want a box standard railing, you're just going to go to the railing tool and you can just sketch. If you go to level 1, you can then sketch where the railing needs to go. And you can trim this line, trim single. Okay, and then you can give the railing an offset. So once the railing is complete, if I go to my level above, sorry, I put in the wrong level, my apologies, level 1. And then you give this an offset of 24. Usually this gives it a base offset of 24.4, but I usually make it 25. Okay, so the railing tool is pretty straightforward. You just draw a path where you want to go, and this flips the offset from the inside or outside in essence. Okay, so railing tool is pretty basic. So you can go and say edit path again, and you can pick. Okay, so the railing tool is pretty straightforward. You can introduce like curves in the middle here, for example. Okay, so it draws a railing. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly go and delve into how a railing is made, more or less. Okay, so here by default there's some built in already, but they're not that great, so I'll probably need to give you guys some examples. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the square one. I'm going to go and edit its type. So the first thing I'm going to change is this needs to be a meter high, and I want to change this to be a circle. So all you're doing is you're driving, you're duplicating these settings. I'm going to use the 40 mil circle for now. I'm going to rename this and call this 60 mil. Press OK. Now we can change how it will gooseneck if it goes up the stairs. So I'm going to make it gooseneck for now. Press OK. Press apply. It will change. You'll find that this will become round. The last thing I want to do very quickly is just make it a 60 mil, because generally a hand railing is about 60 mils. So if I go to profiles, and I go to handrail circular, here I'm going to duplicate this, I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to say new type, I'm going to call this 60 mil, and then I'm going to go and say edit type properties. All you're going to do is just change the diameter to 60, press OK, go back into this again, edit type, select your top railing. This is it's a different system family which lives in here. I'll show you where that is now, but you're just going to select the correct profile, press apply. There I've got a nice fat hand railing. Okay, let me just show you where these railing types. If I got a railing, here are the different railing handrail types. Okay, so here you've got different hand railing types that run on the top. So if I go here and I go to edit type, and I go to my hand railing, so it's my top rail. So you'll need to go and find your top rail family over here. So you can add extrusions on the front. So here you can say extrusion style. You want to go back to the wall, or you want to go to the floor. So you can make it extrude past. And there's certain rules on how that works. Let's go back to part S. So with hand railings, for disabled people, they need to extend past where they stop 300, 300. So you need to incorporate that in there as well. So maybe I'm going to do that here. So you can go and, I'll just make this 100 for now. So it's not too, okay. And you can create a style. So it'll go back to the wall, or go back to the floor, or go to the post. I'm just going to say none for now. If you say back to the wall, to bend back to the wall. Okay. I'm just going to say none for now. And you can do all kinds of different terminations. Okay. I'm going to press apply, press OK. You don't want this to apply all the time. You can see here it's going 100 mil this way. Here it's going 100 mil that way. And that's kind of what you want it to do. Okay. This one you might not want to do that. So that's where you will go and change. You'll create another type, a different rating where you'll change this. You'll change these settings. If I change this to, that's to wall, and I say that's to wall, press apply. I think you can also put a bend in as well. Apply. Okay. But generally, that will go into the wall. So you just need to play with these. So you're going to have a series of these different types of hand ratings. Okay. I'm just going to neaten up this as well. So I'm going to go and create some more, get my baluster rounds. I'm going to duplicate my balusters. I'll explain what these do in a minute. No, I didn't want to open it. I wanted to edit it. No. So here I'm going to create a new type. I'm going to say duplicate. I'm going to call this 10 mil. You'll see the railing will start looking quite good. And just edit the type properties very quickly. I'm going to make this 10 mil. Okay. Go back in here again. And I'm going to go and edit the type. So we have a square bottom rail. I'll get to that in a minute as well. So here I want to change these ratings to 10 mil, which should be here. There it is there. And usually this is at 100 cents. Okay, press apply. Press OK, apply. That's already starting to look a lot better. Okay, now we've got a bottom rail that's not. So if you click your stair in your tab and you click the top rail, you can edit this profile for the top rail, but you can't edit the rails for the rest of the stair. So what I tend to do with these railings, I go and make, so I want a railing. I just want my square hand railing over here quickly. I want to create a new one of these. So I'm going to say new type. I'm going to call this a 50 by 15. And I'm going to go to type properties. Okay, this is pre-built in. All you have to just go and change these settings. Okay, now I'm going to make this handwriting look a lot better. So I'm going to go edit type. So with the rating here, I've got a bottom rail that's offset by 90 mil. I'm going to add, and that will be my 15. Press apply. Okay, and then I'm going to add another one, and then this will be 850 high, for example. Okay. And I'm going to select the same rating for the top, which was that one there. Press apply, press OK, press apply. Okay, so now my handwriting is starting to look a lot better. The next thing I need to do now is just tell those balustrades, the vertical balustrades, they must use the base of the new rail 2 and they must terminate on rail 2. So they start at 1 and end at 2. For press apply, press OK, apply. So that's what I want to see. I want them to terminate between the bottom rail and the top rail. This is a handrail. These are rails. Okay, and then these square balusters, let me explain what they do. Edit type, so if I go here again, your posts, these are posts. So your posts will be these corner objects, which I'm just going to leave as is. And you can tell them how they work. So generally, I'll try and make the pattern spread to fit. Works generally a bit better. Okay. It spreads to fit. So that's the best you're going to get it. You can't go and edit how this thing terminates and comes out. It just doesn't work that way. If you want a real customized hand rating, you have to model it in place. Okay, so rating. I'm going to grab one more, place railing and stair. So I'm going to select the inside again. Railing, place and stair, stringers. I want it on a tread. Why is it not selecting the stair? Let's get rid of this. Railings. There we go. So that's what the gooseneck does. When it comes to a difficult situation, it goosenecks up. It just makes a neater terminal. Okay, so that's why I've done that. So generally, that's for what you got.